Hello students, welcome to this session. So let's study human reproduction. So in that we are going to study about male reproductive system, female reproductive system, and how the reproduction takes place. By formation of gametes, male gamete, female gamete, they combine and form zygote, and then the new species is formed. And the significance of this reproduction is for the continuation of the species. So let's take the sessions in detail. So the learning objectives of the human reproduction. So few terminologies, then male reproductive system, then gametogenesis in male, then female reproductive system, menstrual cycle, gametogenesis of female, then fertilization, implantation, pregnancy and embryo formation, then parturition and lactation. Reproduction is defined as the biological process in which organism give rise to the new species and it is similar to itself. Then the new species or offspring grow, mature and in turn produce new offspring. Thus there is a cycle of birth, growth and death, and then it continues the species generation after generation. Sexual dimorphism is the condition where two sexes of the same species exhibit different characteristics with the differences in their sexual organs. Viviparous is the development of embryo inside the body of the mother. Oviparous is a reproductive mode in which female gives eggs that complete their development and hatch externally from the mother. Puberty is the time in life when a boy or girl becomes sexually mature. It is the process that usually happens between 10 to 14 years of the age for the girls and 12 to 16 for the boys. It causes physical changes and affects boys and girls differently. Menarche is the first menstruation of the human female on attainment of puberty that occurs about 13 years of the age. Menopause is the stoppage of the menstrual cycle, that means ovulation, and then it occurs about 45 to 55 years of the age of the female. Reproductive events occur after puberty, and there are remarkable differences between the male and female reproductive events. For example, sperm formation continues even in the old men, but formation of ovum stops in female at the age of 50 years, that is menopause. So few events of the human reproduction are: first, formation and liberation of gametes, that is called as gametogenesis. So sperms are formed in males and ovum in the females at the specific time in the reproductive cycle. The transfer of sperms into female genital tract is called as insemination. Internal fertilization of ovum by spermatozoa or sperm cells is called as the formation of zygote. Transport of the fertilized ovum, that is zygote, to uterus. Formation and development of blastocyst and its attachment to the uterine wall is called as implantation. The early embryo developed from the fertilized ovum in the wall of the uterus. Then formation of placenta and maintenance of unborn child during the entire period of gestation, around 9 months, that is called as embryonic development. Birth of the child or delivery of the baby, that is called as parturition. Then expulsion of the placenta. Then suckling of and care of the child with an eventual return of the maternal organs to virtually their original state. Now let's study male reproductive system. So the parts are testes, 2 in number, then accessory ducts like retitestes, vas efferentia, epididymis, vas deferens, and the accessory glands are seminal vesicle, prostate gland, bulbourethral gland. The testes, they are paired oval testes, lie outside the abdominal cavity in man in a skin covered special sac called as scrotum. It has the 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius temperature less than the abdominal cavity, and which helps for the spermatogenesis. The capsule of the testes is covering epithelium. It is called as tunica albuginea, and the gubernaculum is the fold holds testes in the scrotum. The transverse section of testes. The testes contains many testicular lobules, and the lobules contain seminiferous tubules, which are mainly for the sperm production. The seminiferous tubules contain two types of cells: male germ cells, which form spermatogonia, and after meiosis they form sperms. And the second, Sertoli cells or sustainacular cells, they are supporting cells, give nutrition to the germ cells. There are interstitial spaces between the seminiferous tubules, and there are numerous microscopic interstitial cells. They are called as Leydig cells, which produce the male hormone androgen, that is testosterone. The functions of the testes: first, production of sperms, that is male gamete, and second, synthesis of male sex hormone testosterone, and it helps to form the male secondary characteristics such as deep voice, male hair distribution, and typical distribution of fat, that is masculine fat nature. The transport of sperms from seminiferous tubules to retitestes. Retitestes is the network of the small tubules. Then it forms vas efferentia, and then the sperms go to epididymis, which is present above testes, and it is the storage for the sperms. The epididymis located on the posterior surface of each testis, and it stores sperms before ejaculation, increasing the fertilizing power of the sperms. Vas deferens: from epididymis the duct emerges, that is called as vas deferens or ductus deferens, and then each vas deferens enters abdominal cavity, arches over the bladder, and opens back side of the urethra. Then it receives ducts from the seminal vesicle, then it forms ejaculatory duct, and then it opens into the urethra. The ejaculatory duct stores and transports sperms outside through urethra. Urethra, it is a small duct, originates from the urinary bladder, then to the penis, and then to there is urethral meatus, that is opening, and then which communicates with the outside. The penis is the external genital organ, the function to deliver semen into vagina during sexual intercourse, and excretion of urine through urethra to the outside. The accessory glands of the male reproductive system. So first is the seminal vesicle. They are sacculated glands present on each side, situated between base of the urinary bladder in front and rectum behind. The glands secrete alkaline secretion and fructose of the semen for nourishment to sperms. The prostate gland is donut shaped structure present only in males, surrounding the first portion of the urethra. It secretes acid phosphatase, hyaluronidase, fibrogenase to support and protect sperms during ejaculation. Corpus glands, bulbourethral glands. Just below the prostate, a pair of pea-sized glands connected to the urethra. Its alkaline fluids serve as a lubricant during copulation. Now we will see gametogenesis, that is formation of male gamete in males. So spermatogenesis is the process by which haploid spermatozoa develop from germ cells in the seminiferous tubules of the testes. Spermiogenesis is the final stage of spermatogenesis, which sees the maturation of spermatids into mature motile spermatozoa. Spermiation is the process by which mature spermatids are released from the supporting somatic Sertoli cells into the lumen of the seminiferous tubule. Now we will see in detail gametogenesis in male, that is spermatogenesis. So in seminiferous tubules the spermatogonia are present, and after mitosis the diploid 46 chromosomes are present in the spermatogonia. Now there is increased gonadotropin hormones, that is increased luteinizing hormone and increased FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. So luteinizing hormone stimulates Leydig cells, which produces androgen, that is testosterone, and which helps in the spermatogenesis. FSH stimulates Sertoli cells, and it causes the spermiogenesis. Now primary spermatocytes are formed from the spermatogonia. They contain 46 chromosomes diploid. Then meiosis first takes place. Then primary spermatocytes are converted into two secondary spermatocytes with haploid 23 chromosomes. Then meiosis 2 takes place. So 4 spermatids, that is haploid 23 chromosomes containing, are formed. Then spermiogenesis takes place. So spermatozoa, that is sperms, are heading into the Sertoli cells. Then spermiation, that is sperms released from the seminiferous tubules. The normal sperm morphology, the parts of the sperms are head, neck, middle piece, body and tail. So head is a haploid nucleus. The cap is containing acrosome, which contains enzymes for the fertilization of ovum. These are the digestive enzymes. Then neck portion, then middle piece, so which contains mitochondria for energy, which is required for the motility in the fertilization process. Then body and tail. So total number of normal sperms are 200 to 300 million sperms per cubic millimeter, and normal morphology in the semen. So normally 60% sperms are normal and normal motility is the 40%. Now about seminal fluid or seminal plasma. So it is a fluid containing sperms produced by testes and secretions from the seminal vesicle and prostate. So composition of seminal fluid. So color is grey white, pH slightly alkaline. Then from testes sperms are there around 100 million per ml. Then seminal vesicle contain secretions contain fructose. Then from prostate it is citric acid, cholesterol, then phosphatic acid, fibrogenase, phosphate, bicarbonate, hyaluronidase. Then the semen examination is physical examination. So first liquefaction time and viscosity test. Chemical examination, pH and fructose test. Microscopic examination, total sperm count, sperm motility and sperm morphology. The uses of the semen analysis. Semen analysis recommended as cost-effective procedure for couples who have failed to conceive after 6 months of unprotected intercourse after marriage. So it is also used as a gonadal function test. Hello students, welcome to this session. So let's study human reproduction. So in that we are going to study about male reproductive system, female reproductive system, and how the reproduction takes place. By formation of gametes, male gamete, female gamete, they combine and form zygote, and then the new species is formed. And the significance of this reproduction is for the continuation of the species. So let's take the sessions in detail. Now let's study female reproductive system. So the parts are ovaries, 2 in number, accessory ducts, that is oviducts, also called as fallopian tubes, then uterus, cervix and vagina, Bartholin's glands which secrete mucus, external genitalia and mammary glands. The first part of the female reproductive system is ovaries. So there are 2 oval bodies located in lower abdomen just below and behind the uterine tubes. The functions of the ovary, one is to produce eggs and second to produce female sex hormones, that is estrogen and progesterone, which are required for the female sexual characteristics. The transverse section of ovary, the capsule is the covering epithelium called as tunica albuginea, and the inner part is called stroma, which contains the outer part cortex, which contains ovarian follicles, and the inner part of stroma is called medulla. The ovarian follicles are the basic units of the female reproductive biology. Each of them contains a single oocyte, that is immature ovum, granulosa cells and theca. The second part of female reproductive system, oviducts or fallopian tubes. The parts are intramural part, that is interstitial, which is present inside uterus, that is myometrium. The second part is isthmus and third part is ampulla, which is wider, that is the site of fertilization. At the distal end, each fallopian tube expands into funnel-like portion, that is called as infundibulum, having finger-like projections called fimbria. They help in collection of ovum after the ovulation. The third part of the reproductive system is uterus or womb. So both oviducts open into a wider tube. The uterus measures 3 by 2 by 1 inch, inverted, pear-shaped, and it connected to the pelvic wall with the ligaments. The parts of the uterus, the first upper part is called fundus, then body, the central tapering portion, and then cervix, the narrow portion opening into the vagina. The cervix secretes protective antibodies, and the natural acidity of vagina prevents the growth of harmful bacteria during and after menstruation. The wall of the uterus, the perimetrium, the outermost membrane, then myometrium, the middle portion that is containing smooth muscles, which is for the strong contractions during the labor or delivery of the baby. Then innermost part is the endometrium, which is glandular and which is causes the menstrual cycle. The endometrium undergoes cyclic changes from puberty to menopause, and endometrium develops each month to provide nutrition for fertilized ovum or egg. The vagina opening covered by membrane, it is hymen, ruptures during first coitus. The sudden fall or jolt, insertion of vaginal tampon, active sports, horse riding, cycling. So in some women hymen persists even after coitus. So presence or absence of hymen not indicative of the virginity. External genitalia, so it contains mons pubis, then labia majora, that is outer vaginal fold, which contains clitoris, then labia minora, the inner vaginal fold. The clitoris is visible as the small white oval body of the spongy tissue between top of the labia minora and the clitoral hood that functions solely for sexual pleasure. The next part is mammary glands. So it is breast, which is glandular tissue and fat. The glandular tissue forms mammary lobes, which consist of cluster of cells. They are called as alveoli, which secrete milk, and they are stored into the cavity of the alveoli. Then they are transported to the mammary tubules, then mammary duct, and then mammary ampulla, and then lactiferous duct, which is ejection of the milk. Now let's study menstrual cycle, the characteristic feature of the females. The menarche is the onset of menses at puberty. Until menopause, a woman's reproductive system undergoes cyclical changes, and each cycle is around 28 to 29 days. There are 4 phases: menstrual phase, follicular phase, ovulatory phase, and luteal phase. So in menstrual phase, it is destructive phase, that is bleeding takes place. So it is about 3 to 5 days, and it is because of the breakdown of the endometrial lining and blood vessels. And lack of menstruation, the reasons are pregnancy, stress, poor health. Then follicular phase, so in that estrogen is increased. It is proliferative phase. The follicles, primary follicles converted into a Graafian follicle, and endometrium undergoes proliferation. Ovulatory phase, it is because of the LH and FSH, it is present in the middle of the cycle, that is 14th day, and LH surge causes ovulation. The luteal phase, it is secretory phase. So in that Graafian follicle forms corpus luteum, which secretes progesterone, which is required for the maintenance of endometrium, implantation of fertilized ovum for the pregnancy. Then absence of fertilization, corpus luteum degenerate, disintegration of endometrium, and then bleeding phase. The menstrual hygiene and sanitation should be properly maintained by use of sanitary napkins and proper disposal of the sanitary napkins. The menopause is a stoppage of the menstrual cycle, and it is at the age of around 50 years. Now let's study gametogenesis in female, is called as oogenesis. So oogenesis is the mature female gamete formation. So is initiated during the embryonic development stage, when couple of million gamete mother cells, that is oogonia, are formed within each fetal ovary. No more oogonia are formed and added after birth. These cells start division and enter into prophase 1 of the meiotic division and get temporarily arrested at that stage, called primary oocytes. Each primary oocyte then surrounded by layer of granulosa cells and is called primary follicle. A large number of these follicles degenerate during the phase from birth to puberty, and therefore at puberty only 60,000 to 80,000 primary follicles are left in the each ovary. The development oogonia, that is gamete mother cells in the fetal ovary. So in meiosis prophase 1, they are converted into primary oocytes surrounded by granulosa cells, are called as primary follicle. The primary follicle then surrounded by granulosa cells and theca cells is called secondary follicle. Then is converted into the tertiary follicle, which contains cavity which filled with the fluid called antrum. The theca is divided into two parts, inner theca interna and outer theca externa. And inside that primary oocyte undergoes meiosis 1, and then it is developed into secondary oocyte, which is haploid and first polar body. Then mature follicle is formed, called as Graafian follicle, and secondary oocyte, the new membrane is formed, that is called zona pellucida. So this zona pellucida is required for the binding of the spermatozoa and is then required to initiate the acrosome reaction. The Graafian follicle then rupture, secondary oocyte, that is ovum, released, and is called as ovulation. Hello students, welcome to this session. So let's study human reproduction. So in that we are going to study about male reproductive system, female reproductive system, and how the reproduction takes place by formation of gametes, male gamete, female gamete. They combine and form zygote, and then the new species is formed. And the significance of this reproduction is for the continuation of the species. So let's take the sessions in detail. Now let's study fertilization process. So sperms enter into the vagina, that is called insemination. So then they travel to cervix, then to uterus, and then the ampullary part of the fallopian tube. Then from the ovary, ovum is released. In the ampullary part of the fallopian tube, the fertilization takes place. So for the fertilization, the ovum is released in the ovulation time, that is around 14th day of the mid cycle, and that time sperms are there. They should be there available for the 72 hours, and then the fertilization process takes place. So the sperms, they enter the zona pellucida of the ovum by secretion of acrosome, that is digestive enzymes. Then they enter into the ovum. So the secondary oocyte, meiosis 2 takes place, and then haploid ovum plus second polar body is formed, and then sperm plus ovum unite, and then it forms zygote, that is diploid. Mechanism of sex determination. So phenotype male and female. So genotype of male is AA and XY. So AA autosomes 23 pairs and XY is 1 pair. 22 plus 1 pair, that is 23 pairs. In female, the genotype is AA plus XX. The gametes formed from male can be AX or AY, and from female they are AX and AX. So eggs of female are called AX type, homogametic, and the eggs of male are two types, AX and AY. They are called as heterogametic. So in this table you can see from AX and AY combination, the two female and two male combination can be formed. Conclusion: if egg is fertilized by sperm carrying AX type, the zygote develops into female. If egg is fertilized by sperm carrying AY type, zygote develops into male. In millions of sperms of humans, 50% are AX and 50% are AY type. 50 is population, 50% females, so 50% males. So sex ratio is 1:1 theoretically. Scientifically, sex of the child is determined by father, not by mother. After fertilization, the next process is implantation. So zygote formed is traveling to the isthmus of the uterus. Then mitosis takes place. Then 2, 4, 6, 16 cells are formed. They are called as blastomers. Then 8 to 16 blastomer stage is formed, that is called as morula. Then it is converted into the blastocyst into the uterus. The blastocyst converts into the outer part tropoblast attached to the endometrium, and the inner part, inner cell mass, forms the embryo. The uterine cells divide and covers blastocysts, and it is embedded in the uterus. That is called implantation, and then pregnancy continues. Now let's see pregnancy and embryonic development. So outer portion is called as trophoblast. So it converted into the chorionic villi. They are finger-like projections in the uterine tissue, and then they attach to the uterine tissue. So they convert into the placenta, which supply oxygen, nutrients to the fetus, developing fetus, and remove carbon dioxide and waste. The hormone HCG that is human chorionic gonadotropin, HPL, that is human prolactin, estrogen and progesterone are responsible. Then relaxin is formed in the later phase of the pregnancy by ovary, and then umbilical cord is formed, which is attached to the embryo. The inner cell mass, they form the stem cells. So outer ectoderm, middle mesoderm and inner endoderm, they form organs. So first month heart is formed. So first heart sound is heard in first month. Second month limbs and digits are formed. Third month first trimester systems, then limbs, external genitals formed. Fifth month first movement of the baby is felt by mother, a hair on the head is there. Then 6 month second trimester, body, hair, eyelids, eyelashes formed. And then 9 months the complete fetus is formed, and then it is delivered. So parturition is the fetal ejection reflex from fully formed fetus and placenta. So in that, anterior pituitary glands increases the level of oxytocin, which causes excess contraction of the uterine smooth muscle, that is called labor, and then it helps for the expulsion of the fetus, that is called parturition, and then expulsion of the placenta. Then in lactation, the mammary glands differentiate, and the glands produce milk, that is called lactation, and the first milk is called as colostrum, which contains antibodies which gives immunity to the baby. So first part of milk is very essential for the developing baby. So to summarize, there are few terminologies. Then male reproductive system, the organs like testes and then all accessory glands and ducts. Then gametogenesis in male, that is spermatogenesis. Then female reproductive system like ovary and other accessory glands and ducts. Then menstrual cycle, gametogenesis in female, that is oogenesis. Then fertilization of sperms and ovum called zygote. Then it gets implanted into the uterus. Then pregnancy continues, and then after completion of the development of fetus, there is parturition and then lactation, which supplies the nutrition to the fetus. There are some applied parts. So it is pregnancy. Then there may be abnormal sites of the pregnancies, like in the cervix or in the fallopian tubes. Then it is called ectopic pregnancy. Infertility, when there is no fertilization and no fetus or formation, it is called infertility. The sperms, if the count is low than the normal range, it is called oligospermia. If the sperm counts absent in the seminal plasma, it is called azoospermia. And if the semen is absent in the ejaculation, that is no sperms and other components, it is called aspermia. Then cryptorchidism, so it is undescended testes. So testes are not descended into the scrotum, they are seen in the abdomen. There are abnormal menstrual cycle. So normal menstrual cycle is around 28 to 29 days, but if it is more or less, it is called abnormal. Then fibroid, it is the smooth muscle mass into the uterus is called fibroid. Hope you find this session useful for your understanding and for your exams. Thank you.